Hello,
Hey
boys.
guys.
How's
Good evening.
everybody?
Good.
Good.
All you
How you
listeners
doing?
out there and viewers, welcome to the Heikadelic Show. Once again, here we are, Monday night at 9:30, ready to get dirty.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah.
I just got a ping from our the HDS fan club, which is the Heikadelic Show fan club, and
Oh, yeah.
it just started up a watch party. So
Oh,
uh,
isn't that cool?
that's very cool. Yeah. So thanks for that.
Well, here, we'll all wave.
Yeah. So that fan club, by the way, I didn't check the likes today, but it's got a couple almost cruising a couple hundred people on it already. So that's good stuff.
No.
And the fan club is actually meant to just generate a conversation outside of the show. But what we've kind of noticed is that some of our fans and friends were actually having chats amongst themselves during the show. So we
Yeah.
post
Yes.
a lot of those, and they're talking to each other. So which is very cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But we thought, you know what, let's let them have their own forum and discussion about the show. So
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
think we're
what
going to
it
go.
is. It really has nothing to do with us. It's a fan club, right? So it's fans
Absolutely,
getting
yeah. So
together and shooting the breeze. That's
yeah,
cool.
and then they can, it's a safe place to talk smack about us, right? So
Yeah.
we encourage it. Go for it.
I want to be a fan too.
Yeah, yeah. We're unless they ask us, I think we're just going to generally just kind of stay off it.
Yep, absolutely.
But
That's their thing. That's really
yeah,
cool. I like it.
yeah. A lot of programs, a lot of bands do that. They start fan clubs, and it's incredible because they just grow like good weeds or weed. But so George, what do you got for us tonight? Let's kick it off with some trivia.
Well, as we usually start off with, it's the lovely backside.
Yes.
I've delved into like what's left of
See,
my.
when you say that, I think of something totally different.
I know.
You're thinking of my backside, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There
You know
go.
what though?
It's
I've been accused of being flat, like a flat ass, right?
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. We're talking about a backside, so we're talking about my ass probably, but yeah, it's flat. Flatter than a board, never been nailed, but it's yep.
That's
It's
what happens
flat.
to most men, right? They got the
Yeah.
gut hanging out. They got a flat ass. Their ass disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my gut's
That-
getting smaller. I can safely report, so that's good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. No.
You can't
Are you
just sit
working
back in
out,
your
dieting,
recliner
or?
and put your beer on it anymore, or what?
No. It'll fall right off.
So have you been consciously dropping a few pounds?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just kind of a lot of wrenching and stuff like that in the garage, and building,
Right.
customizing, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And
Right.
yeah. Maybe I'll bring that. I'll do a show from there one night. So,
Yeah.
but
Live,
over to you,
live from the
George.
garage.
Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead.
Live from the garage, right?
Yeah. It's funny because actually today, like I weighed myself last week, and with COVID, I hurt my leg, remember, and all that.
Right,
And I
yeah.
thought, so I've not been doing, a jog a few times a week. So I got on the scales and went, holy shit, there's like 7 pounds. Where did that come from?
Wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, so I'm like, uh-oh, you know what I mean? But I'm actually starting to jog again a little bit. So I thought I'll try that. I remember it from years ago. I don't know if any of our viewers and listeners of the 7-day cabbage soup diet.
Oh, the cabbage
Oh,
diet. Yeah.
geez.
Yeah, so today's day one, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So hold that
Yeah.
thought, George, because
Yeah.
Craig's getting antsy out there. He's saying show trivia, please. So
Okay, all right.
Well,
So
and somebody already made a guess. They said Rolling Stones. We haven't even held the album up yet.
yeah, because I put a little clip out. Like I usually send it to Terry. I wasn't sure if he was putting it out tonight, so I put it on my Facebook page.
Okay,
I've had a
gotcha.
couple of people already have guessed it. It's a bit of an easy one, but
For sure.
can't make them all hard, can we? But,
Yeah. So Terry's taking the night off tonight. So well-deserved break. So anyway, we'll go to the album here. Hang on, I'm gonna get. There you go. You got the full view from the Atomic Ballroom.
There you go. We're in mellow mood tonight. We've not got disco lights. We just kind of got
Yeah, I see
moons
that.
and stars. Yeah, we're kind of like we're tripping a bit tonight. Take it easy. Day one. So that's it.
All
Came
right.
out in 1980. The album came out in 1980. I
Wow.
bought
Derek
that
says
from Sam.
Emotional Rescue.
All right, we'll hold that thought. See if anyone else agrees.
All right.
Yeah, we'll give it a few
Yeah.
minutes and let's see. Like, yeah, I actually bought that in Sound the Record Man back in
Did you?
1980. Yeah,
Wow.
I was on holiday, first time here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
I couldn't believe the price of albums compared to back home in England. Because
Oh,
like I think they were like, you know, like regular albums like $3.99 Canadian.
Right.
And in the UK we're probably playing like that in pounds. So you pay like
Really?
$3.99 and $4. Yeah. So I couldn't believe it. It was like Aladdin's cave for me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, get this, get that. I had a pile like that. I bought about 25, 30 albums
Right.
to take back home.
Yeah.
And I had them in the suitcase, put them in the suitcase. And like, you know, we were at the airport at Pearson Airport to go back home to Manchester, England. And it's 1980, so I guess X-ray machines aren't as sophisticated as they are now.
Right.
And the guy in the counter is like running it backwards and forwards, right? And he's like, you know, like, and they bring somebody over, and he's like looking at the, you know, the monitor, whatever it
Yeah,
was.
because it would be a whole stack of them together,
Yeah,
right?
it's like you know, and I bought other ones from other stores as well, so there must have been like almost 40 albums in there, something like that.
My
It's
God,
crazy, right?
that must have been heavy.
It was heavy, right? But it was still worth it for the price, right? Because it's like
Yeah,
ridiculous. So in the end, it looks at me. I mean, this is the days when security wasn't what it is today.
yeah.
And he goes, "Do you have something large and cylindrical in your case?"
Yeah.
He said, "Because the camera is like, you know, I can't see what it is." And I went, "Yeah, there's about 40 vinyl albums in there that I got from Sound the Record Man." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Just let it go.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 No, that's cool, actually. So that was what, back in the 80s?
That was 1980. That'd be like August 1980. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you had A&A. Young Street had like Sound the Record Man, A&A, Play the Record. There's all these record stores. It was like,
And they were
being
all
a
really
DJ,
close.
it was like,
Yeah.
wow.
They were close
brilliant.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I used to go down there every Boxing Day and buy albums.
Downtown and on Young Street, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Always drove
just
down.
opposite the Eaton Centre. Yeah.
We parked in the alley behind the store, which is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And I always brought a couple friends with me because same thing, like you, I bought so many albums, I needed a hand carrying them all.
Oh yeah, you could spend hours in there. Those are great stores. Unbelievable.
So George, what did you say the cost? So the cost was a lot more here in Canada than
less. Because
okay.
There was at the time there were 3 Canadian dollars to a British pound.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And so if you figure it out that I was paying $3.99 or maybe $4.99 Canadian.
Yeah.
But for say a Police album or whatever album.
Wow.
And then, but in England to buy that same album, it would cost me £4.99.
So it'd be like 12 or 15 bucks, right?
Yeah, it's like you'd be paying $12 over here, right?
Wow.
So that's why I just couldn't, I couldn't resist, right?
No kidding. Buy one, get two free.
Exactly. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, you need another suitcase.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because do you remember, speaking of prices, do you remember Columbia House Records and Tapes?
Oh, yeah.
I used to buy from them.
So you pay a penny.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you actually have to send them a penny? I can't remember now. I don't know if you tucked it away in the envelope and sent it. And then they would send you what, like 20 tapes or something like that, or albums or whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah, whatever you wanted, and then you had to buy so many out of the catalog after that.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were still pretty good prices.
Yeah, because they send you a selection of the month, and you have to buy one every 6 months or something.
There was that part, and then take out a loan to pay the rest off or something. But it was kind of an interesting marketing thing. But aside from that, being a kid, you can go out and do this. And so I ordered up tapes, and my first heavy metal tape, actually, that I would say is more of like a thrashy heavy metal, was actually Anvil. And Anvil, I mean, based out of really down southern Ontario here, it was super cool. So I wore that tape out with my my little blaster there, walking down the street as we all did back then, and listening to Anvil and Loverboy and all these crazy bands, right, from the 80s or early 80s and late 70s, I guess. But the so Anvil though really stuck in my head. It was the Metal on Metal CD, or sorry, tape. And so lo and behold, when Motor City Maniacs did a big show at the music hall, former music hall, we actually played with, got to open for Anvil, and we were actually direct support. So that was with Black Moon Entertainment, and we were really grateful for that, because it was kind of a little bit of a rock star moment. Only because that was a band that I grew up with, and to get the chance to actually open for them was phenomenal. But it kind of takes me back to your story where, back in the day, albums and tapes and gosh, even 8-tracks before that, they were just so coveted, right? It was like, wow, I am going, this Saturday is my moment. I'm going down to, in my case, because I was a northern boy, it was Records on Wheels. But it was kind of like a Sam. Yeah, well, the guy who ran that place was kind of emulating Sam the Record Man, right? Like, I mean, he'd always talk about how he'd be down at Sam's, and he knew the owners and everything else. So it was a really awesome time, and it was an event. Going to buy an album was an event. So yeah, it's definitely a different time. I kind of wish it would go back to that,
Well, I remember, like, when I was at school in like the mid late 60s, as a school kid, a big thing was to go into city centre Manchester to one of the record stores and go into, I don't know if you had like a listening booth where you could ask for records to be played, and you'd be like a little booth listening to these records. And there'd be like 3 or 4 of us all crammed into these booths. We met in town, and we'd go like, what we're buying this week, and everyone would buy one, and then the next week you'd like swap them round, right? So everyone had it, and then you'd go again the following week and do the same thing, and just, it was like a cultural event every week.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. And then you'd have these little listening parties, invite your friends over and everything, and it was just a great time. I remember carrying Stax albums over to my friend's house, and we'd all, like, there'd be, gosh, at the end of the day, probably 50 or 100 albums all over the floor, right? Because we're kind of looking at the covers and doing all that stuff, and perhaps getting high. I can't remember. It was, but not that we did that. But
no.
So Derek's saying 1040 Chum was awesome back in the 80s. They had the Dr. Demento show. I actually remember that. And I'd listen on my AM/FM Walkman in bed. Remember the Walkman, guys? Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
I used to repair those.
Yeah, I mean, the little belt would go inside, and that was but the Walkman.
Like 1050 Chum was like the station, wasn't it, in the 80s? It was like Toronto's top station.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow, it takes me back.
Yeah, great.
Coming from England, right? It was just so amazing, because like in England, right, the radio was totally different, and you come to like North America, Canada, and it's just, there's all different stations that played, all this different stuff, and it was just great. Whereas in England, you didn't have that much choice, really. You had the BBC Radio 1, and maybe Radio Luxembourg from Europe that you could get at night, but there wasn't really a whole lot.
So there weren't that many stations.
No. And then gradually, I mean, there's more and more, like, towards the late 70s, but like in the mid 70s, when, like, I was like really getting into music and records and record buying, there weren't that many stations to listen to be honest, that played music all day long. You know what I mean? You get a show here, a show there, that kind of thing. And obviously it changed down the decades, but certainly back then, even like coming back from Canada, I mean, I remember like CFMY I thought was amazing. Q107 had just started. And just like the other varieties around the city, you had all these different stations. just in one little space, which is
Yeah.
crazy. You know, whereas we were
Well,
talking in the UK, it was like 50 odd million people. You know, with just a few stations. You know, to listen to.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I love the BBC, by the way. I always have just something about it when I want to chill and listen to kind of news and whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think the terrible injustice really, okay, is, and it just is what it is. But terrestrial radio now, most of the stations are run by robots, right? Like meaning that it's on some kind of playlist and on autopilot.
Yep.
And
Yep.
but a lot of the internet programs are like that as well. I mean, it's just a cost-cutting measure. However, the DJs brought, you remember WKRP in Cincinnati, right? Like, I mean, that was a brilliant sitcom about DJs. But the fact that, DJs were absolute personalities, kind of like we are on the show, right? We try and become a personality. Is this like what we're like in real life? Maybe, maybe not. But like that live DJ, I mean, those are like unsung heroes, right? And they just don't do it anymore. So I know some of the terrestrial radio station on air talents and stuff like that. And I've asked the question, it's like, well, wait a minute, how come I hear a particular song over and over and over and over again? Like, and it's like, no, you're not here. I said, absolutely, you don't even listen to your own show, right? Like, so when if I have it on in my vehicle or something like that, I'm listening to it quite a lot. So my preference is actually satellite and internet radio now, right? But internet radio, because this is almost like a parallel, internet radio for the most part, they can't staff that 24/7. So a lot of it are playlists, right? So
understandable,
but live DJs do appear and they're great, and I think we got to see more of that. So
Look, but it's funny because like talking about personalities, back in like '89, for about 3 years, I was at Sparkles. I was DJing the nightclub.
Right.
But I'd done radio before in England, and I was doing like part-time up in Aurelia on CFOR 1570 CFOR. Aurelia's legendary hits, right? And I used to do like maybe I'd go up there, do like a 6-hour shift. I'd go up on like a Saturday afternoon from midday till 6, or I'd go up on a Sunday from 6 p.m. to midnight, that kind of thing. Right. The odd time in the week as well. I'd have a night off from Sparkles and I'd go and do up in Aurelia at CFOR. And that's how I learned baseball as well, because they were telemedia that owned them. So if there was a Blue Jays game on, you actually just played the game through telemedia. So same with ice hockey. So what I used to do is, I said ice hockey then. I should have said hockey. That's it. But like I know I get told off for that sometimes. But so you just have the audio feed for telemedia going out over the radio, which I had on in the studio. But we had a TV, so I'd be watching a TV, but listening to the radio, and it's just a great way to like watch baseball and hockey that way.
Well, and your brain takes a lot of information in and back. It's amazing today, right? When you go to social media, I mean, everybody's on their phone, they're watching TV, they're doing all kinds of things all at once, right? A lot of kids, in fact, they're gaming. They've got an iPad in one hand, watching some kind of a whatever, and then the other, they got their phone and they're texting, they're doing all this stuff. And there's a new thing on, well, not quite new, I guess, if you're a gamer, but Discord and all of these audio things. So they're actually chatting with their friends who are playing video games with them at the same time. They got a video on a tablet. So the data requirements are massive, right? And so it's just light years. But our information processing is so fast now. Like we've trained our brains to process a lot more that it's really hard to shut it off. Right at night, it's really, really hard, and that's why we probably have a lot of people breaking down as a result and everything else. But we won't go there. But it's just information. It's not that it's overload. It's just now we crave it, right? It's like an adrenaline.
We've been conditioned. We've been like conditioned, right? Yeah.
Oh, I saw this program on Netflix, and I think it was something about. I'll have to look it up. It's something social about social media, but it's all of the. It's a bunch of past former executives from like Google and Facebook and so on and so on. And I think it's called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Brilliant documentary. Go in there and look it up. But it's how there's what started as marketing programs and everything else ended up becoming more of a very targeted programming and really brain training, right? And not always for the good of the whole. So very interesting stuff. But
it's funny
going back to CF for a while, just to finish that little story off. So like when I was at, we had a playlist kind of thing and traffic and all the rest of it and weather, and up there you do the marine reports and everything. And it was like, so then I'd play music, and being from England, the kind of radio that I'd done a little bit of over there, I kind of did that, you crack a joke or and I was actually told by the program director, he said, cut out the personality stuff, George. Wow. So you're just an announcer then, right? You're just an announcer, So it was good. It was an experience.
Back in the day too, I mean, a lot of that was about station control, right? Like it's a lot of the DJs were censored and all that stuff came in, very, very crazy. So let's get back to the trivia. So Craig is asking, is it the police?
It's not the police. It is actually. Derek got it right again, and Joe Santos on my Facebook page ever put it up. It's the Rolling Stones, Emotional Rescue.
Okay, so Derek got it again.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah,
he threw that.
I need help, George.
Okay. Where did Johnny go?
I don't know. He just went, bink, he was gone. But we're still here. So.
Okay, that's all right. We'll keep it going.
Yeah. Oh, here he comes.
Back. There he is. Here I am.
You got to play my tune for us.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, cue that up. So this is my mouse. This is my mouse.
That looks like a gamer mouse.
It is a gamer mouse. I'm
there
not
you go.
But the problem with it, I just need a basic one. Because see these two buttons here?
Yeah.
If I tap those, I don't know how to program this thing. So if anybody out there wants to program it, have at it.
Oh, I program mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have one similar to that. It has all buttons on the sides and everything.
Well, you can show me how to do that, Heiko, because these side buttons, if I tap them with my thumb, boom, it kicks me right out of the stream. So
because they actually do something.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's programmed. So when you hit them, it's trying to do. So we can change that.
Oh, good. Let's do that because So when we meet to talk about
what's the volume on this? Hang on.
Here we go.
Okay.
Cheers, everybody.
Nostrovia.
I gotta go refill on that.
Love it.
So is that what you're using for the show? That mouse? Wow.
Yeah. I had a very basic one, but somebody in the family kind of borrowed it. I need to just like not have those buttons. I don't need them.
Yeah.
So Derek says I still listen to old radio horror shows, Vincent Price stuff a lot, and Paul Harvey's the rest of the story. So I know what you mean. Those are so fun to like. I listen to radio classics on Sirius Radio and satellite. Those are really cool because before there were TVs, and I lived in that era, and we all did. The three of us did, right?
Absolutely.
So you listen to the radio, and everybody would be sitting on the floor around the radio listening and just riveted. And Vincent Price was just amazing, right?
Well, he had the voice. Vincent Price was an amazing storyteller.
Just
amazing.
He's an absolute icon, right?
And at that time, like you said, there wasn't all this other crap around. So people used to get together, sit and listen to a radio show, like a Halloween show or something, or a special that he put on, and it was very cool. Very cool.
Oh yeah, like I mean, remember Johnny Dollar? I don't know if you remember that. He was like an insurance adjuster. Johnny Dollar was not Johnny Ringo, but Johnny Dollar was an insurance claims adjuster. but he'd always get pulled into a murder, right? So he ended up he was like a crime cop or a detective, but just amazing stuff. And then you had to use your imagination. It wasn't about like all of this inundated video pictures and like what we have today. Now we have 360 views of stuff. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what? It kind of like you want to leave. I think the attraction is really leaving something to the imagination, right?
Yeah.
And that
right.
I think a little bit of a teaser, right?
I've heard the term theater of the mind, right? So it's whatever you think it is, that's what it will be.
Yeah.
You have to.
Wasn't there a show that? Wasn't there a show back there?
Theater of the Mind.
Yeah.
That sounds sums it up really. Yeah.
But you know what? If there isn't, we gotta scoop that one. It's a great name for a show. But so Derek's saying he listens to a lot more podcasts now, and podcasts are great. I'm a big Joe Rogan podcast fan. I introduced that to a few of my friends, Terry included. That it's really like, he's got amazing talent on there. Just no holds barred on. Very much like, I don't want to compare us to them at all, but it's Joe solo, and there's some comedy there. He's got good delivery, right? And great guest.
He always has Bill Burr on, doesn't he? Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr.
He's a mainstay on there. He's a mainstay.
Yeah, Bill Burr's on there a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, Radio Carolina.
I'm not a huge. I enjoy it, but I'm not a huge fan of Joe Rogan. I mean, I got introduced to him by my son, and I'm not a huge fan, but I kind of enjoy him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing, like he's got his topics. He's a political guy. He's into all that stuff, right? So if you're not into the topic, then it's kind of hard to get into him, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just think I don't necessarily, it's like you sometimes you listen to somebody to kind of, you don't have to agree with everything that they say. You know what I mean? You don't have to be absolutely in tangent or whatever you call it to be a regular listener, but you just go, I don't agree with that, and you just sort of think your own thoughts, right? But
well, I think when Bill's on Rogan, I mean that's a whole dynamic and chemistry, and they play that up, right? But
but he's like Mr. Angry all the time.
Well, you know what? Like I mean, I've seen Rogan do great interviews. Most of the ones I've seen have been great. He just he's respectful of the guests, but he'll ask the tough questions as well, right? So it's pretty good. The one that I mentioned several shows ago was about Bob Lazar, and he was the guy that sort of discovered Area 51 and all that stuff. And it was there's a documentary on it, and then Rogan, after the documentary was all done and everything, he got the producer and he got Lazar in, and there's so many people out there, trying to debunk all of this stuff, and it's just more and more facts are surfacing. And I thought Joe's interview was great, but he likes stuff like that. Like he goes not only after
he goes right at that.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot, you name it, he's all over it, right? But I love that. He's a good, great talent. So Peter saying Ringo wants it programmed for left-handed for internet porn.
There you go.
Internet porn.
Nice.
Yeah. So is that what those extra buttons do?
Oh yeah.
Do they
absolutely.
Operate like
you
wireless
can set
machine?
them up to do shortcuts. You can set them up to do keys on your keyboard. You can set them up for anything.
Right.
Like for instance, when I was pretty big into video games, and I bought a mouse like that, and it was a huge advantage because I'm not searching for all these extra buttons now. I would program the side buttons, and I had extra buttons on top as well. So I could do so much more just by clicking on my mouse. Right. So that's what they're meant for, and that's why you'll see gamer mice like that. A standard one for what you do for the TV show, you know what? take the fancy one, put it aside, get a regular mouse, and you'll be good to go.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I need to keep that simple because it just messes me up. But it's happened so many times now. It's like when Ringo goes off the air, I think Terry or whoever was saying, "Oh, he's off doing whatever." But no, it's actually I 9 times out of 10 I hit that switch and I'm gone. But
it's just your fat fingers. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at this thumb. Look at it. Look at that thumb. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's bigger than your head.
That's not my toe. It's my thumb, or maybe it is my toe. So. Yeah.
Fat thumbs. I have the same problem, and I'm trying to text.
Remember when we had the hip hop artist on a few weeks ago, and I asked him the question. I said, "What's the most useless talent that you have?" And he said his feet. His feet. So I guess he'd have a toe picking up stuff, right? So but I always wondered how some of those hip hop artists got the beats going and the turntables going or whatever they do, and then all of the drum beats in the background. So they probably use their hands and their feet and everything, right? So So Derek says element 115. Okay, so he's back on the Lazar topic, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. Derek, we can talk about that offline for sure anytime.
Yeah.
So I remember at the beginning of COVID, Terry and I would get on a stream and we would go and we'd research a bunch of this stuff on the internet, right? So it was good times. But
oh yeah, well you guys would be up. You'd tell me the next day, "Oh, we're tired."
Oh yeah,
we're up to
sometimes
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
4 or 5, absolutely, 4 or 5 in the morning. So it was yeah.
I don't know if I could look at your face that long.
No, yeah. Well, we yeah, that's for sure.
Sorry, I had to say it.
I can't look at my face that long, but so so George and I a few weeks ago after one of the shows, I think I called George and
he did.
Forget what it was.
What did he call you? Did he call you something terrible?
I've heard worse.
I called him up and I said, I don't know what we were talking about initially, but it turned into a 2.5 or 3 hour discussion, right? About just kind of trading stories about George's DJ past mostly and how he made it to Canada and all of that. And I thought it was actually very, very, very intriguing. But I was kind of burned out by then, and eventually I just nodded off on the call. And I woke up and I'm like,
"Hello, has it gone dead?"
Yeah,
battery's
so
fine.
My family said, "You know what? You guys were talking till after 3 a.m." I said, "No." I said, "My Apple Watch said I kind of went to sleep at 2:30." So George talked about whatever he's talking about for another half hour. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's what DJs do. That's what that takes you back, right? It's just sat in a little room talking to yourself, basically.
And hope somebody's listening.
That's right.
Well,
actually, going back to CFOR, I'll tell you, when I first started there, right, and because I went up, got shown what to do, and then one night, I think it was a Monday, and they did the news at 6 till 6:15, and then basically it was me till midnight. So everyone just went home. There's just nobody there but me running this station, right? So I remember going, if you want to do this, give me a call, whatever, like you do. The phone rang at about 7:15, and I'm like, oh great, it's my first ever radio phone in Canada. So I look at the phone and go, "Hello, it's CFOR here, George Andrews." And this lady went, "Do you know if there's a garbage collection tomorrow morning?" Because it's a local. Oh yeah, there we go. Great. Thank you very much for calling.
Thanks. Well, I'll figure that out for you. Let you know.
That's right. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one.
That reminds me of I grew up north, and there was I think it was called CKSO or something like that. It was a few radio stations, and then Q107 had Q92 up there and all that. But so when I was pretty young, my dad would listen to a bluegrass channel, and there was this guy, I remember him very well, and his nickname was Buddy Malo, right? and he had the deepest voice. This is the old Buddy Melo here, and so he play like bluegrass, right? But then there was this is kind of like the Kijiji of the old days. What they would do is they would have a trading radio trading hour where people would call in and say, yeah, I got this little thing for sale, and I ain't sure what it is, but you know what? It looks like it's in pretty good condition. I want $1,000 for it. And so then other callers would call in and say, you know what? That guy selling the whatever, I'm interested in it. And you'd leave your number with the station, they'd connect you somehow, right?
Yeah.
But so what's funny is occasionally you'd get somebody calling in that was just totally messing with the station, right? So so you'd hear all kinds of really funny stuff like, hey, I want to sell my kids, or hey, I want to, just crazy nutty stuff. But we're talking about kind of throwback stuff, but I miss that stuff. It was cool, and especially the like the live DJs. It was so engaging, right? And it's hard now to get like a live call in DJ, something that's dynamic. So
but see, even that, like back then, people actually had to pick up the phone, call the station, and talk, right? Now it's so easy. They're watching us on Facebook right now. While you're on your phone, and you shoot us a little message. I think nowadays it would be even easier for people to do that, and that's what I'm saying. Our fans out there that are listening to us or watching us right now, feel free to send us something live on Facebook. If it's funny or cool, we can read it right on the air, And if you're watching, we can put it up on the bottom of the screen. So go for it. Attack us. Be funny. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. If you wanna do a prank us, that's fine. So
that's what Derek just said.
Derek's just saying about it's kind of got my mind racing there because here's a little bit of blast from the past in terms of Ringo rant. Okay, so how many? Put your hands up, people out there, if you've gotten a call from a duct cleaning service.
Oh yeah.
Or a government agency, or let's say Revenue Canada, threatening to arrest you if you don't give them your information. So these random calls for me come in almost daily, right? So the Revenue Canada one, which is hey, I'm an agent from, and it's always, I'm not even going to go and say where in the world it comes from, but it's not Canada. All right. So they call
same voice all the time, same accent, right?
Absolutely. So they call in and insist that if you don't comply with them, they're going to arrest you and stuff like that. So first of all, they call an automated voice comes on and says, you've been whatever. So I wouldn't recommend this to anyone because they take advantage of a lot of seniors out there, right? But I do respond for my own sheer twisted entertainment. So I'll hit number one, and hopefully I'm not being billed. But then a real live person comes on, right? And that's where the fun begins. So so I could talk all night about different scenarios, but at the end of the day,
they want information, and people give it out. So there's one thing I want to tell everybody that's listening or watching right now. Revenue Canada will never ever phone you. No, they don't phone.
They don't do phone
not
at all.
use the phone. They will send you a letter. So if you get a phone call, they say Revenue Canada, anything like that, it's a scam. Just hang up or say what you want to say, or do like Johnny does, have some fun with them, go on. Just don't give them any info. Just ride them along for a while and waste their time.
Oh, yeah. I used to get my little daughter to go on to some of those crank calls and just, talk about her Elmo, tickle me Elmo or something. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend, it's not, they actually, some of these some of these folks would be pretty good actors, I think, because they really take it serious. And they told me to pull over. I said I can't do that. I'm on the 401. Yada yada.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's always a punchline from my part. So what happens now? Okay, they call me, and it's not a block number. I've called that number back, and it's somebody out in Ajax, unfortunately. And I said to the woman, I said, you should probably unlist your phone. Like, I mean, sorry, get a new phone number, because that's never going to stop. They mask over your phone number, and the calls begin. So she has nothing to do with it, obviously, but but so you never see it coming in, or if you see no caller ID or 11111, it's probably more of a Skype number. But
it's funny because it happened to be about 2 weeks ago. I had a number call in. I answered, and it was that recording, so I just hung up. And then five more times that day, they called me, but under different numbers. And the funny thing was, it got to be a local phone number. So, if somebody answers, they know you're there, they're going to keep trying to get you to go through their scam.
Absolutely. And it was interesting because I have a few cell phones that all have the same local exchange, not just the Toronto exchange, but so the next 3 digits are the same as my phone. So it would always come in like that. So, and I can't keep track of all my phone numbers. So I'm like, oh, geez, somebody, is it somebody else who has one of my phones? So, but yeah, I'm not a drug dealer or anything. I just happen to have multiple phones. But
well, we have caller ID. So when I look at my phone and it's nobody I know, I don't answer it. Leave a message. Good luck.
Yeah. Right. So, but anyhow, that's how technical they've got, and it seems like a local number, so you're going to pick it up and you're going to get exposed to this. But absolutely, don't play into their scam. So Keisha, I guess she's
I want to explain that. What
you need to.
We always had the duct cleaning service call us, right? And it's funny as hell because they still call here once in a while, duct cleaning service. And I always answered the same way, and they would be stunned. They would be quiet on the other end for a second and not know what I was talking about. But they say, you were duct cleaning. And I would just say, oh, no. We don't have any ducks here. We have chickens, and I look after them myself.
Right.
It's like, piss off.
Yeah.
So I guess Keisha uses that now, too. It's funny.
Well, actually, it was I was trying to give you a segue, Heiko, to talk about real ducks.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because we never really kind of went into, and how was your weekend? What did you do? Right?
There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Johnny called me today. It was like, I don't know, 5:30 or something in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I just got out of bed. I just woke up. And he's like, what? It's fucking 5:30. What's wrong with you? Right? I went down to help with the ducks, loading ducks on the truck last night. So, and that job starts at midnight, and I got to bed at noon the following day. So, so I only had a couple hours sleep. But that's it's kind of fun, but it's just a shitty job, right?
Yeah, you're chasing ducks around it.
You're herding ducks, like a dog would chase sheep or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We loaded last night. We loaded like about 6,700 ducks on trucks, so it's like 50,000 pounds of duck.
Wow.
And the trailers are 53 feet long, like they're big trailers. And what you do is you just go amongst the ducks. They're all quacking or running away from you and stuff, and you're herding them to march them on the truck, right? So, and it's funny. I always laugh because when they're walking away from you, they're quacking and their heads are going like this because they only have the 2 feet. So now you see hundreds of them going like this, walking away from you. It just looks so hilarious, right? And then on the top floor, it's even funnier because you herd them all to the one end of the barn. But now to get them on the truck, they can't just walk up a ramp onto the truck because you're on the second story. So there's a big slide, right? There's a big slide to go down. They slide down into the truck like a big stand, like just like you see in a park.
Yeah.
And they stand there and they don't want to go down the slide, right? So they're all quacking. It's freaking hilarious.
Sounds like you got a new sequel to Angry Birds, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm going to do it again tonight at midnight tonight. I'm going back over. Yeah, we have another couple thousand to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Craig says duck cleaners won't sell duct tape, by the way. So you know what?
Oh, that's good to know.
That and there, I have a good friend, and he got into the difference between, like, I guess tomato, but when you say duct tape, is it duct?
Yes.
Duct tape?
There's a
Or
T
is
at the end.
Duck. There's a T at the end, exactly. But everybody says duct tape, right? Quack, quack, quack. But,
everybody says duct tape.
Yeah, exactly. So Craig says duck whisperer because I actually had.
Thanks.
So no, but actually he got that from something that I put up on the screen, which was.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. See if I can. There you go. Heiko Meister, the duck whisperer.
Duck whisperer.
Yeah.
Pretty much not much whispering going on there.
There was some kind of joke about ducks too, and something about $25. I don't remember it now. We won't get into that. So
I'll tell you one thing too. When you're in a barn with 10,000 ducks, it's pretty loud.
Oh, I bet.
It's not what you think. It's quite the experience.
So do you guys wear headphones, like PPE kind of stuff for that, or no?
No, just the clothing, right? Because
do you have to duck a lot?
Actually, yeah. Seriously.
I bet, because they fly, right? A little bit, in little leaps. So
and in the barn, there's so much shit. There's fans, heaters, water. Yeah. There's stuff everywhere. You got to make sure you're not running into something.
Well, I know, with chickens in some of these chicken farms, the barns are there's so much ammonia that they have heat exchangers, rows and rows of them on the roofs, and they rot out because of the ammonia, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Every year, your heat exchanger lasts a year, and they got to be replaced, right? So
I do the chickens too, right? There's the farms right on the street here, and their brother and sister. One guy, he's the chicken farmer, she's the duck farmer.
Yeah.
And they're two totally different things completely.
Mm.
The chicken farming is actually, it's still different. It's a lot of hard work, but it's a lot easier because you prepare the barn, you put the little chicklets in, they're 1 day old, and they grow, and when they're ready to go, they actually come and pick them up. You don't have to handle them.
Right.
The ducks is totally different. And the chicken shit is a lot like birds. It's kind of solid.
Yeah.
But with ducks, it's liquid. So it's a hell of a lot different.
Yeah, no, it's gross.
You prepare the barn. Yeah, you prepare the barn for the chickens, and the whole time they're there, you're good. With the ducks, you're constantly adding shavings. Right?
You know what we ought to do though? It would be good to hear that from a farmer, that experience, because I hope PETA doesn't come after us, but it would be a great interview to find out. In Heiko, you're kind of doing it. You're doing it live with them anyway, but it would be interesting to hear that perspective, because they have to, no pun intended, put up with a lot of shit in that sector, right? And literally,
it would drive me quackers. You know what I mean? Doing that.
Really?
Yeah, for sure, quackers. So Kathy's saying, "Hi George, did I miss your trivia?" So Kathy, no, we missed the album cover. I think.
Yeah, we've done the album cover. We'll do Who Are We? Who Are We?
Okay, so let's do that now.
Let's do it now. Yeah.
Okay. This is a band formed in Middlesbrough in England in 1978 by the lead singer, who had left his previous band that had massive success the previous decade in the UK. By the turn of the decade, they had released a string of UK top 10 albums, including Ready and Willing in 1980, Slide It In 1984, which was their first album to chart in Billboard and went on to 2 times platinum. The band's 1987 eponymous album, which of course way back means self-titled. We found that out, right? Was their first commercially successful worldwide album and contained 2 major hits. Any ideas so far?
No.
Okay. One of them being "Is This Love?"
I know it. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
Know the
band. All right. We'll give someone a chance, right?
Yeah.
The album went 8 times platinum in the US. Another album, "Slip of the Tongue" in 1989, was also a success, reaching the top 10 in the UK and US. The band split up shortly after its release. All right.
So I was listening, "Slip of the Tongue." I heard, speaking of bots, right? I was listening to a channel, like an 80s channel, on the weekend, and I heard that song 5 times in the day rotation, right? So I was in my garage working, wrenching from about, I don't know, 9 or 10 till about 2 in the morning. So in that rotation, I heard that, but it sticks right in my head, right? Like a slip of the tongue, I'm in deep shit. So
wow,
or something like that. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, but, that's it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there you go. Craig's got it. White Snake.
Okay. Yeah. Craig's first in with the answer. All right. Yeah, it was White Snake.
Nice job, Craig.
Yeah. Good one.
They actually released an album last year, 2019, called Flesh and Blood, which I didn't realize.
Hey, and you know what? Craig just beat Derek to the punchline.
I know that. I was just looking, and Derek's got nothing here. What's going on?
Fingers on the buzzers. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. So does he get the victory bell, or what?
He gets. Oh, yeah. Hang on.
Yeah, there we go.
I have to say, George's questions are awesome.
I know. There's a lot of really cool trivia there.
Oh, there it is. That's for Craig.
Craig. Good job.
You know what we'll do? We'll throw in the red light as well.
Oh, perfect. Look at that.
There you go, Craig.
So,
gotta love it.
There it is.
The red light as well.
George, put on the red light.
So that's my story of something cool I did this week. How about you guys?
I didn't enjoy the snow yesterday. Like, ooh, it's a bit early for that.
Look, you live in Canada.
I know.
It's the end of November. I don't think we should be complaining about snow.
I spent the weekend honestly in my garage. I just find working on I'm working on actually modifying a bunch of golf carts and bringing them back to life and stuff. And so now I've acquired 6 of them and just kind of doing some different things with a buddy of mine, Paul. I call him Sam Scranch, but we have a lot of fun with that because he's got Paul has or Scranch as they call him, has a 1975 or 7 the Bandit, the Smokey and the Bandit, and he restored that right pretty much from the ground up, right? He bought like a rolling chassis, but what a great restoration. And I've been over a few times, and like he's very multi-talented. He's got he can do all the metal work and body work and then the finishing and everything. So and then of course I've got a 1967 Beaumont, so we're kind of, I don't know if I call him or I car guys, but we've always talked about starting a garage, right? Let's start a custom garage. And I said, hey, why don't we start with golf carts, something small and a little more manageable, right? But we're having a lot of fun with it, and that's what I did. But I also did something else. I met up with Derek on our show tonight, and of course he's got that band.
Come on,
House of Haunt, House of Haunt. Sorry. I almost said Halloween Haunt again. Sorry, Derek. But what a great guy. I mean, it's the first time I met Derek in person. Heiko, you and I and Terry were up at a hamburger place during the summer when we got to meet Derek. And of course, Derek's been involved with some different events and that. But so quite some time ago, I promised him, I don't know if it was after trivia or whenever it was, So I think it was even pre-COVID. It was a long time ago. But I said, hey, Derek, you want a T-shirt? And I think the other thing was a bag of Richards. But those are hard to come by right now. No pun intended. But so I brought him up a T-shirt for him and his girlfriend and his boys. So they've all got T-shirts up there. But we had a great chat, and definitely want to do that again sometime. And Derek's involved with our fan page as well, helping us coordinate all of that.
That's cool.
So,
very cool.
Yeah.
So
that's what I did. George, what about you?
Well, I'm still working on the memoirs. I mean, it just gets more and more and more. I mean, it's like it's here.
Nice.
Wow,
that's great.
It's like a project. It's like a project. I started thinking, take a couple of weeks. It's like the deeper you go, it's like, holy moly, it just keeps more and more. You know what I mean?
I'd like some coaching on that, because then I can put the memoirs of Johnny Ringo together. And I'm just wondering though, like, not to sound narcissistic or anything like that. Do you have a chapter dedicated to Johnny Ringo?
Well, no, you're not in the same. This is just the same Tower years. That's just, it's not even finished. It's nowhere near finished.
You have to wait for volume 3 or 4 to come out.
So in 5 years.
Well, there's like 5 decades. Well, it'll be 50 years in December. I told you that the other week, right? So there's 5 decades, and this is just short of one of them. This is just 1 decade.
Yeah.
There's another 4 decades. It's only 20%, and it's taking me forever to actually do it. But I actually found some old check stubs from what I was earning in 1990. It's like, holy moly, whoa, whatever.
Amazing,
where did it all go? Pardon?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I've got them in there, all kinds of stuff. Look at this guy. If you see it.
Who's that?
Hang on. I'm gonna zoom that one out. That's great.
This is the front cover. This is my working front cover at the moment.
Wow. You look just like, hang on, let's see that, push that up. Other than a bit of a haircut, George, you haven't changed a bit.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's why I keep the lights low, you know what I mean?
So wait a minute.
That's a photograph in the Sparkles booth, superimposed over an aerial shot of the CN Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's neat. Very neat.
Yeah, but I mean, I go through phases. Like, I didn't really do a lot for about a week, and then on Friday I thought, I think it's your body clock goes, Friday's supposed to be a busy night, so I kind of shut myself off and wrote a few more pages and did a few more bits and bobs. So
nice.
It's kind of weird writing about that stuff, because it's like you just remember people you met, and it just brings all these memories come flooding back. It's crazy. Right. It's just wild. It's just
Well, it's even when we talk about stuff here on the show, like you sit there and you bring something up, and then one of the other people goes, "Oh yeah," and it pops something in your head, and you just start talking. Right? It's great.
Yeah. Well, the thing about DJs and sort of the Sam the Record Man, I mean, for me, that's definitely it almost brings the smell of that cellophane wrapped album, and it's like. And I think they had scratch and sniff albums for a while, right?
There was. I still got it. In fact, it doesn't smell anymore. But I actually got I think it was Strawberry Letter. There's a couple of albums I remember getting. One was Strawberry Letter 23 by the Brothers Johnson, which was a big disco hit, and there's one by Rufus and Shaka Khan. Shaka
Khan, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was like a strawberry picture disc, and they used to smell of strawberries back in the day.
Yeah, there were smell-o-vision
as well. Yeah.
I'm amazed, honestly, that that's not a thing now, like really smell-o-vision, because we've got all this HD and 4HD or whatever, and like if you get the right TV technology and you get the right streaming download, the visual on these 4, 5, 10K or whatever they are, it's just absolutely amazing, especially if you get one of those sort of panoramic concave TVs, right? So the next move is, if we can see it and we can kind of feel it and we can almost sense motion on a roller coaster ride, now we need to smell it, right?
That's
and
right.
I think that's the next thing. But So
well,
what's
they
going
did
on?
try that, didn't they? They
There
did
was
try that in
a
theaters at some point,
there
didn't
was
they?
a book I read a long time ago, and you didn't go to the movies. They were called the Feelies
Okay.
because
Yeah.
on your armrest on your chair, you put your hands on these
Oh
pads,
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep,
that
right?
rings a bell.
And then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could smell and taste and
yeah,
feel what
yeah,
was going on in the movie. It was
yeah,
like some sci-fi thing or whatever.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to one of those at, I think it was Universal Studios or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It's quite interesting, actually. In fact, there may even be one in Niagara Falls, but it gave you you're in this motion chair, and it's kind of like a bench seat. So
Yep.
they run you, and it's like an IMAX screen, right? It's
Yeah,
massive,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
do a roller coaster thing, and you're going down, and then you splash into water, and then all of a sudden the spritzer sprays you with water,
yeah,
Yep.
and
yeah. Wow.
it's
Yeah.
quite it tricks your mind, right? And
It does.
I
It's very cool.
but imagine that, like Total Recall and all those science fiction, which is not. They were so close to that now. Where
Well, it's
imagine if
gonna
you could
it's
take
gonna
that
come.
vacation. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Have you
Um,
ever tried the VR goggles?
I have I'd say a cheap set, and yeah, there's
I've seen that,
yeah,
and obviously there's only like one or two pairs because they're very, very expensive, but they let people try them on and go into a VR world. But there's other
yeah,
people, you're standing around, you're watching the person that's wearing them,
yeah,
and you see the screen and you see what they're looking at and you see their hands and whatever, and you watch them in person standing there and they're going through all the motions. So it's total body language with what's going on in that screen. It's very cool.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
it's all coming, man. It won't be long.
So
Yeah.
Peter's saying I should be, or he's questioning whether I'm gonna, do a pop-up
Couple.
book. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh
a
my
pop-up
God.
book.
No.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Heiko, maybe you can design something on a CNC milling, like my likeness on in a pop-up book. That would be good.
There you go.
But and then Kathy says something about Tom Selleck. Not sure why. But I haven't
Oh,
been
I
following
know
him.
why.
Oh,
I know
I know
why.
why. Yeah, the
Yeah.
mustache. Right, the
Yeah.
picture.
I've had that a
Tom
lot.
Selleck, right.
I've had that a lot. I've had that.
I was gonna say a porn star, but hey, whatever, same deal, right?
Yeah.
Who?
Um,
Who are you going to say?
I said I was gonna say a porn star, but because it
Yeah, I've
was
had
like
that. Jeremy. Yeah, I've had that. Ron Jeremy. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. No, you look nothing. I've met Ron Jeremy in person. Okay, you don't look
Yeah.
anything like him.
I've had Frank
So,
Zappa. I've had John Bonham. I've had more than one, more than
Yeah.
once. Yeah, lots of times.
so
I've just
Derek's
got a
saying,
generic face. It's just a face, right?
Yeah. Derek just
yeah,
brings up something funny. He says the real disc jockeys are missed, and now the
yeah,
top 40 generic radio stations suck. And
Yeah.
they do. And the
yeah,
simple reason is they don't have a DJ. They got a guy
No.
that talks, and then they have their top 40. It's
Yeah.
all pre-programmed on a computer, and
Yeah.
they play the exact same shit every
Yeah.
4 hours over
Yeah.
and over. So if
Yeah.
you have the station on at work, you're listening to the same song 3 times a day. It's terrible.
mm,
It's
Yeah.
brutal.
I remember like a few years ago, I was meeting somebody in Ajax, like to go for fish and chips or something, and I pulled up in the van, and what was the song that was playing? The one that got sued because of Marvin Gaye. But anyway, this song's playing as I'm getting out of the van, switching it off.
Yeah.
Blurred Lines. Do you remember that one?
blurred lines, yeah.
Yeah. And it's playing, right? So I go in, after lunch, whatever, took about an hour, an hour 20, something like that. Get back in the van, switch on the radio, boom, Blurred Lines comes on. It's the same station. It's like, holy crap, there's like a gazillion songs out there.
Yeah.
And you get like 10 songs a day that you can listen to. It's like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. But like to your point, Heiko, and we were really talking about it earlier, how these DJs are kind of lost in time. And but when you look at it, from a consumer point, I think the radio media, really like just missed it. They missed the boat, so to speak, because everything like that, what draws you in are reality, right? Like look at Big Brother's still popular. All these reality, or who is it staged or not? Who knows? But I watch the gold hunting, I watch Pawn Stars, I watch all that stuff, and it's all based on some form of reality, right? A documentary. Love it, love it. I just I can barely sit and watch an entire movie. There are movies I'll watch, but generally, if I have a preference, get up in the morning, I'll be watching a lot of documentaries and stuff. So I think there's a high attraction to that because it's unpredictable. So you put a DJ on. Look at Howard Stern, right? You look at his career was based on the unpredictability. So the DJs that like what we do, for instance, it's unpredictable, right? We don't even know sometimes where we're going to go with this stuff, and that's what people crave, right? And it's not. It's definitely lost with automation. So, but I will say this, and Heiko and I and George have been discussing this as of late, but we will be announcing a new radio station that we will be not only affiliated with, but we will have a lot of very exciting things happening. And we're about, say, 2 weeks to formally not only announcing it, but actually launching it. So there'll be more to come on that, and we'll get some teasers out. And but we're going to bring some of that back. We're going to bring some live DJs back. We're going to do some really cool stuff. We're going to keep the tried and true format with the Heikadelic show and all of the crazy antics and everything in interviews. But
we know someone that knows how to do that, don't we?
Absolutely. We do. The other cool thing about it is our reach will be to 750 million strong. So we've got to work our way and let people know who we are out there. So it's going to be really awesome. We also have now the capability to pump out to up to 30 socials at once, which will be, again, like, we're just starting with other things. Like we barely touched Instagram. YouTube's been a bit of a placeholder for us. We're going to start doing stuff with that. Twitch, all of the new formats and platforms we're going to integrate with, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of work, honestly. And because when we started this out, and then we moved from the radio station that helped us, they were, great radio station, great place. But at the end of the day, we've decided we want to be truly global and expand our exposure as much as we can. So we're on that train. So Derek, though, is back to the Heiko Smell-O-Vision.
Smell-O-Vision.
Yeah, so I'm probably a little behind on this, but let's see.
Yeah, it was in a book. I might not be right with this, but the book Brave New World comes up to mind.
Yes,
and I think that was a bit futuristic and stuff, and I think that's where they had these movies they called feelies, because you put your hand on these pads and you could actually it would mess with your senses, right?
Right. Do you remember 1984 as well? Like, I mean,
I keep talking about that. You talk about the book, 1984.
Yeah, the book, for sure.
That was an amazing book, and the stuff they had written in that book, I believe the book was written in 1958.
Yep.
And it was about what 1984 was supposed to be like.
Right.
It's amazing. It really is, because the guy had vision. And the one thing that I picked up out of that is every single household had a TV in it. Yep. And the TV was located in a central type location where it was seen throughout most of the house. And with that TV, they could also see you.
Yeah. And that came to pass, right? We can do that today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the other interesting thing is, now that we have COVID, and I don't want to get too much into this shit because, well, whatever. But in that book, what they did is they broke up the family unit, because a family unit is strong, and family units together is even stronger.
Absolutely.
So there was a lot of propaganda, and what they did is, look at that. Hold that up again, George. There, look at that. And that was an amazing book. Amazing book.
1949 was it was.
Oh, was it
first
49?
published. Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, this copy I picked up. I don't know when I got it back in the day. This is actually from 1966.
Amazing.
UK copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a more recent one.
Yeah.
I have that. But I mean,
anybody that gets a chance should read that, because even now, like I'm saying, breaking up the family unit, that's what's happening now with COVID, believe it or not.
The problem I have is the print is so small in this. I need one of those, like, extra large print these days to read it.
But like the professor, you get the magnifying glass out.
That's right.
So
great book. I love that.
Yeah. Winston, what's his name? Winston. Yeah.
I actually also have
the parallels are quite frightening.
They are.
Yeah.
And how they would erase and change history.
Yeah.
Remember that in the book?
Yeah.
If you did something against the laws and whatever, you would disappear, and they would completely erase you and everything about you from history.
There was
and
look at
now. Yeah, but look at now how they're changing history because of all the stuff that's going on in the world. They're taking monuments down. They're doing this. They're getting rid of history.
Oh, please. Yeah. I mean, I so want to go there.
I know, I do too.
But you know what? You're absolutely right, because that's exactly what I was going to say. That the issues, whatever those issues may be, they're trying to like pretend history was there. But you know what? Honestly, we'll move on from that. But it was a prediction that was kind of made, right? The family unit, though, Heiko, we were talking about like these old radio shows where you'd sit around the radio. You did that as a family, right?
Yes, you did.
That was a big event. But now it's everybody's got their own handheld device.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's not just kids.
We had we had that big floor console color TV, and once we got that, every Sunday night at 6:00, the entire family sat down and watched Walt Disney. And mom would schedule dinner around that, so it didn't interfere. Like, families did things together, right?
Well, one of the things I used to do on the Atomic Ballroom when I was on reality radio was the ending. I always used to finish up with the Ovaltinis, which I don't know if you have ever heard of. Do you know what Ovaltine is? It's like a malt drink.
The drink, Ovaltine. I know exactly what that is. Yeah.
Well, back in like the 40s and like those days of radio, there was a show on a Sunday night on the radio that was sponsored by Ovaltine, and they had like you say, people used to gather around the radio. Yeah. And at the end, the Ovaltinis was like these singers that would sing "We Are the Ovaltinis." That would be the end of the show. Yeah. Right. So I took that because I have that, and that's what I use at the end of the Atomic Ballroom. Is that?
Well, that's cool.
That's nice. Throwback to those 30s, 40s days of radio.
And so, like, George, we're getting everybody wants us to get another trivia going here.
Okay.
So let's oblige.
I think Craig was a little bit like, come on, look, give us some trivia. He's getting a bit cocky tonight. So
and that's why Derek is going, I want more trivia, because I want to get my points back. I can't let Craig beat me.
See, they look
face off. Okay, here we go. Derek, Craig, are you ready?
Do it.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to drop off for a minute and reload my drink.
You do that.
I have to do that. I'm empty too, but let's do this.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the threesome, the three of a kind. What have these three bands got in common? All right. So we've got Nirvana, we've got AC/DC, and we've got In Excess.
Oh, wow.
Nirvana, AC/DC, and In Excess.
What do they have in common?
Yeah. What do they all have in common? So we'll leave that for the boys out there.
I don't know where to go with that one. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. So it should be interesting.
Yeah.
So it's Nirvana, AC/DC, and Nirvana aren't from Australia, but the other two are. But so there you go. So it's not that. So what can it be?
Interesting.
All right. So
Yeah, you really know your stuff, don't you?
I'm not really. No, I just sometimes think, what can I do with this and that? You know,
Yeah, it's very
it's
cool.
like I enjoy doing it though. I learned so much. You know, like looking back, checking facts. You know, you look back and, well, was it? Who was it? What year was it? And
Yeah,
was it from the, and things like that. Yeah, yeah,
it's amazing um, what everybody can still learn every single day, right?
right.
You just have to. I don't know. So many people, their minds are closed off because they say, I'm smart. I know this. I know that. I know everything. And you hear that and you go, open your eyes and your ears because there's always something to learn. And it's
Yeah,
funny. I learned something the other day. I was just helping out a friend. Um, they were having trouble with power in their house. All the
yeah,
lights were kind of on, but they were a little dimmer than normal.
yeah.
The display was on the stove, but the stove wouldn't work.
Right,
The display was on the hot tub, but the hot tub wouldn't work. The hot water tank wouldn't work.
right.
It was really weird, right?
Yeah,
So I went over to the house and had a look. And long story short, I took my test meter, I went in the fuse panel and disconnected some things, and I found out the lines coming into the panel, one of them was not working
hmm,
because you have to have 120 volts, 120 volts. Those are your two buses coming in.
hmm,
So anything that's 220 needs both of those.
yeah,
Anything that runs off 110, like lights and small appliances, only need the one.
yeah.
And that's why part of the appliances were working and the other ones were not. So I said,
Right,
okay. So I checked everything inside the house, but it was the wires coming in that didn't have the power on one. So I called Hydro and they came out to the house and checked everything out. And the guy goes, yeah, you're right. And then they went outside and they checked on the meter and everything was good. So and the guy's saying, well, where you showed me where the panel was to here, that's about 20, 25 feet away. He says, can we get into the garage? Because there has to be a disconnect within 5 feet of where the power comes to your house.
right.
I did not know that. And because of that little tiny tidbit of information he gave me, now I know
Mm,
that there has to be another switch. And there was. There was a switch in the garage, behind
yeah,
a shelf, behind all kinds of crap. And there was
yeah,
a fuse blown in there. And that's why the power wasn't coming into the house.
yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that cool?
Every
You
day's a
always
school day, and
you
you're always
always
learning.
learn something.
Yeah,
So ears
yeah,
open,
it's
eyes
true.
open, right?
Yeah, yeah. Every day's a school day. You know
And
what I
that's why we learn from your trivia too. There's so much
mean?
stuff you've brought up that
Yeah,
I had no idea. And your question now,
yeah.
same thing. No idea.
All right. But
How about
So
our
I guess
fans? Do they
it's
know?
pretty, well,
so
actually,
who got
ring.
the trivia? Was it Craig or
It's not
Kathy?
come
We
in
don't
yet.
know.
We've not heard it yet. We'll
Oh.
read it again. Hang on.
Oh wait, sorry. Da, 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 da.
Okay, she says Craig beat me, so I don't know. Somebody
Okay.
maybe check
Oh
Okay.
Craig.
wow,
Maybe
there's
Craig
a
got it.
lot of chatter here. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
we've had a couple of messages from Bradley McClaren there. From
Yeah.
I couldn't quite read what he said, but he's mentioned it. But Brad, I hadn't seen
You
Brad or
you know
heard from
Brad?
Brad. Yeah, he used to be, he DJ'd for me. He used to fill in at the CN Tower,
Really?
and yeah, and an interesting story with him was, going back to 1992, 3,
Hmm.
and he always wanted to work on the cruise boats, the big ships, and
Right,
he'd
right.
applied a couple of times, and then he came to me through a mutual friend, and
Yeah,
so he added the CN Tower to his resume when he was trying for the big cruise ships,
yeah.
and he actually got taken on board, literally, right? And he
Wow,
went off
nice.
to South. He went off, met somebody on these cruises, and from South Carolina, I think it was, and he ended up staying down there. And the last time I heard from Brad was, like I say, 92, 93 at the latest. And about 2 weeks ago, he messaged me, found me on Facebook or wherever, and
Wow.
he's just written in, he's still down there in the States. Yeah. So big hi to Brad. Good to hear from you.
That's
So
very
Crazy.
cool.
just to cover off the trivia, it looked like Derek said no, sorry, not Derek. Craig
Craig.
said about lead singers that died.
Correct.
Yeah.
Frontman all died way
Oh,
before the time.
So
that's
yeah,
two
so
for
Craig
Craig tonight.
Yeah, he's this. Well, there's still one question to go, which
so
is
it was
the
actually
audio.
like Craig, Kathy, and Derek kind of came up. If you look at the, they all hit it. So good on them.
Yep.
Yeah,
but,
Kurt Cobain, Bon Scott, and Michael Hutchence were the three frontmen. All died.
So one of the things
that,
Bradley was, it was just covering off your screen. I didn't want to leave it up here, but he says, have any of you seen the documentary called Hired Gun about studio musicians on albums versus being a tour band really good? Steve Lukather played on Michael Jackson's Thriller album as a hired gun at the time. I did see that documentary. Actually, I've seen it twice, and very, very brilliantly done, I think. There were a lot of these so-called hired guns who went on tour, in a lot of cases helped make these artists and, bands a complete success. And very, again, the unsung heroes behind the scenes, right? They don't get the recognition. They don't make the money. They don't get the royalties. So when the tour is done, if they're out on a tour as a hired gun, it's a very short-term gig, and then once you're done with that, you don't have anything sustainable in terms of income. But it's amazing. There were so many different artists that we've heard over and over, like Bradley's example about Lukather playing like on MJ's Michael Jackson's Thriller. Amazing, right? World famous, but those people are not. So it's almost like a cameo in time. Brilliantly done. So thanks for bringing that up, Brad.
Good point.
And
thanks for tuning in. Way down there.
Absolutely.
Nice to hear from you. Yeah.
So and now you're in NJ. So Bradley, are you from New Jersey now, or?
I think he is now. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, he's moved around on it. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned, Bradley. We have George on here all the time, so you guys could chat. That's cool.
Yeah. So Bradley's comment there is about the Billy Joel bassist who took his life allegedly because he was distraught and not part of the band thing anymore. But I don't know the history behind that, but it is something that resonated in that show. So again, very, very great show. So
I think have we got time? The end is nigh. We've got time quickly for the audio one.
Oh, hell
absolutely. Yeah, we can do our own thing.
We got all the time we want, buddy.
I thought we were off at 11.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Is that okay?
That was perfect.
That was great.
Play it again. Hang on.
I think so, just in case.
So who is this? That's pretty old, actually.
So Derek's saying Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
No, that's not Billy Joel.
Come on, Derek.
I actually was going to use this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then thought, I won't bother with it because we don't do politics. So
yeah.
And then I thought, I'll play
it. Why not, eh?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, for sure.
Come on, Derek. Don't let Craig beat you tonight.
It's I think it's from 72, 73, around there, maybe 74.
Okay.
74.
Yep.
Wow. Still going today. Still going strong today. In fact, I was supposed to go and see him up in Peterborough back in April, but they obviously got cancelled.
Yeah, well, we listened to them. We had longer hair, didn't we?
Yeah.
So sweet.
Wow.
Not sweet.
No. Not sweet.
They're British.
Right.
This is American, a US artist.
Okay. Somebody's got to have their Shazam out there, and they can. That's cheating, but
that's cheating.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's like Googling an answer. You can't do that.
Yeah. No.
Don't Google.
Oh, like when I Googled Whitesnake, yeah. I'm kidding. Hey, Hike, what does your shirt say? Your T-shirt? I just noticed it flash.
Oh, let me see.
Oh,
Everything's
it's a
backwards.
bike
There we
shirt.
go.
Oh,
Bike shirt.
Moose.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Here. Can't get the
Bikes
freaking phone
born
right.
to
There we go.
Born free.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Love it.
Bradley says, "Can we play it one more time?" So here we go. Hang on. He'll probably get his Shazam out now. But
yeah.
I know that bass run. Oh gosh. Do 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 do.
Well, it's kind of topical, right? It's kind of topical at the moment.
Yeah.
That's your clue. Title of the song is kind of topical.
Wow. See? And you weren't going to use it, and now you are, and you got everybody stumped. I think that's great.
Slice Cooper or Cooner? I don't know.
What's that?
Alice Cooper?
We have our champion of the night. We have our champion of the night.
There you go.
Good job,
wow.
Craig.
He's on fire. Alice Cooper.
Three for Craig tonight.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Derek, you're late to the dance. Derek's late to the dance again.
You're going to be quicker on the buzzer.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Alice Cooper, and the song was called Elected.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
You should check out the video for that. It's like kind of crazy, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's like nuts. Yeah. It says it all, but it's kind of nuts.
So what do you guys think of all the snow that we got hit with?
I think people need to go out and invest in some frickin' snow tires. Oh my God. We just drove the other day down into Scarborough, like in the snowstorm. We had to go to a funeral. But the cars in ditches everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you want the song played there, Johnny?
I was thinking it'd probably be a good time after your the driving fiasco.
I just cannot believe how many people. And then we get in the city. There's lots of slush, snow everywhere, and I'm looking at cars and I go, no one's got snows on. What the hell's wrong with people?
Yeah.
You know, it's winter in Canada. What happens in winter in Canada when it rains, when it's minus 10?
Yeah.
We get that white stuff.
And a lot of people buy all seasons, and depending on what, like I would say up north, you put snow tires on. You don't mess with it because they're just all seasons aren't going to cut it.
Yeah.
All seasons.
When I first moved up to Peterborough, which is in the snow belt, right, compared to down here, I'd never even thought about snow tires, and a neighbour across the street was a friend, a mechanic. He said he was actually getting some snow tires put on. I went, well, did they work, Lawrence? He went, tell you what, put these on your van. He said, and if you don't want them, give them me back. Other than that, I'll go and get another set. You just pay me for those. Well, I went out that weekend because there was a big storm coming. That's why he was doing it. Could not believe the difference. It's not like you go crazy.
Yeah.
But you just at least you're steady and stable and you have that confidence, right?
You have more control.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I just couldn't believe it with the difference it made,
I have had snow tires, Yeah. On every car I've ever owned since I bought my first car, I've had snow tires on every car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it makes such a difference.
Yeah, it's definitely a good practice. You just get the snow, and you know what? You're extending the life of your tires. I'm not saying that because I got snow tires and like I've got all seasons on mine, but next move is I'm going to buy a set of snows and a set of summer tires, and you're just going to, you've got really another 5-6 years worth of tires there.
Yeah. Do you need them for a car or for a truck? Snows.
Truck. Yeah.
Oh shit! Because I have 2 sets of snow tires for sale here.
Oh, okay.
But they're for cars, so I'm putting them on Kijiji tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I've got minor trucks kind of thing. So Bradley's asking where we kind of broadcast from. So we're in the Toronto area, Bradley, and I think you said you're from like New Jersey now or something. But we actually on a beach. This is my backyard. Not gonna lie to you. Yeah,
I'm in the pool shed. So
there you go.
This is the Atomic Ballroom, which is a figment of my imagination.
exactly.
A reality of yours.
It lives in what was that? What was that? What was that thing you said? Something about dreamland, or your mind? What was it, George? You
Yes,
mentioned it
yes.
early, and I said we
Something of the
gotta
mind.
patent that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
theater of the mind. Theater of the
Theater of the
mind.
mind. So
There you
that's
go.
the atomic, where the atomic ballroom comes from, the theater of the mind.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
we're actually kind of, all of us are in the sort of Toronto area. Heiko's a couple like an hour and a half or something north of that. I'm out in the Pickering area, and George, I guess you would be more like what
I'm
area?
I'm in Clarrington, Bowmanville.
Clarrington. Okay, so you're like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're east of me, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're all kind of like,
but
what's interesting is in like Ajax, like Heiko and I are going to get clearly more snow, and we're only, I'm like 15 minutes from the city of like Durham region area, and and I've got like far more snow.
I lived in
8
Ajax
inches
for 18 years. I lived in Ajax for 18 years.
Yeah.
So
I grew up there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Boys, I think we need another tra-la-la.
I think we do.
I've got. I'm empty. I'll play this for you, then I'm going to top up. Hang on.
Well, then you'll have to play it again when you get back with your drink.
I will. I have the technology to do both.
Wow. Cheers, everybody.
All right.
So
we'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Bradley lives in New Jersey, but he's still a Canadian citizen. So
good for you. That's awesome.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
So while George is taking his break, what do we got coming up, Heiko? In terms of
next little while?
Yeah. I can't think right now.
I can't. Well, we got to plan. We got to plan some stuff.
Yeah, we got to get.
There will always be something coming up. Always.
Yeah. Well, no, we're getting together this week anyway. Down at the LZ, and we're gonna plan some stuff. So we'll. I guess we'll take it from there. But I think where I was going was like our new studio and all of that, like where you were asking Brad where we're kind of from post COVID. We want to be broadcasting from a studio, in a common studio together. So we've been discussing that, and that's kind of our next move, is to really like figure out where that's going to happen, because honestly us going on a network and doing all of the other things is going to amp up what we do, and we might need, in fact, more help with that too. So it's coming up, and we're gonna keep things moving, and we're gonna get some more guests lined up for here. So it'll be pretty transparent, and then when we do the transition, it's just going to open up a whole new world for the Heikadelic show. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yes, we are.
So Brad's saying all his family's still in Whitby, Scarborough, and cool.
Yeah. So see, he grew up right where all of us are from. So that's very awesome. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess if you're living in the U.S. and you're Canadian, you get 2 Thanksgivings. So
yeah,
awesome.
Imagine that.
I used to
stuff your face twice.
Well, and I used to work for an American company, right? So what they started doing was just kind of like left us alone for their Thanksgiving, which was great. It was like having a couple of days off, because in fact, I'm meeting with some Americans tomorrow on a stream regarding something, but they said like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's Thanksgiving, so they're not available. Well, how can it be 3 days? I thought it was 1 day.
I think Thanksgiving in the U.S. is almost a bigger holiday than Christmas. It's huge down there. Thanksgiving is it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else? What else was? Oh, I was going to ask you. Have you? I know. Have you had any close calls lately? like driving or anything?
Well, so my truck's it's an F-150 4x4. I love it. But
Yeah.
anyway, honestly, like yesterday, because of the snow, up here it was like almost 8 inches deep. We got really dumped on, and it was heavy, thick. It was definitely snow person making, like snowman, snow woman making material. But so I live on concession roads, right? And it's a drag strip. Like people like, oh yeah, I'm in the sticks. I can just, put the pedal to the metal. And do you think it stopped? No. All of these little like I don't know, just small vehicles, compact vehicles. They come ripping down the road. Of course,
down
front wheel
road.
drive. Yeah, and they're fishtailing all over the place. Not sure why, because they're all front wheel drive, but they're just driving way too fast. So I'm in my truck, and one just kind of wails right by, and I thought he was gonna hit the back of my truck, which would have been a sad day for him, or whoever was in the car. But you got to use extra caution, right? And I guess the other thing is my big beef lately is signal lights. Like you got them, use them. I find that I don't get it, right? So I really should keep my mouth shut about that, because it just seems like there's groups of drivers that just refuse to use them, right? So tonight I'm actually heading to had to do a little shopping and stuff, and heading back to get ready for the show. And so it's dark out, and I'm on Highway 2, right? Coming through the Durham area. So all of a sudden this police car comes up behind me. He's got his lights going. I'm thinking he's going to pull me over, and so I pull over, and he goes ripping right by. I guess there was a takedown, and they actually, there were 3 cop cars around a bus. So when I got up to 2 intersections down the road, they're all over this bus. And so that's the only thing I can think of. They probably have a suspect that's on the bus, or maybe there was a threat, right? But there's cops all around. So I'm coming up behind this again, and do you think the left lane would be courteous enough to just stop and let me through? No. So I open my window, put my arm out, and I'm like, whoa, you want to take on this beast? I got extra leaf springs, and it's all jacked up willy. And so you're going to lose that. But anyway, so whoever it was just, stopped, and I went in, and it was just stupid. Like, I mean, there's lights everywhere, and it's kind of like, let me through, right?
Well, it's just people aren't paying attention either.
No.
Like, we've had two close calls, like in the last week and a half. One was right at the end of our street, coming off Highway 12 onto my road.
Yep.
So we're heading down. We're going to make a right-hand turn onto my street. Got the signal on well in advance, slowing down slowly. And I look in the mirror, and the guy behind me is just coming up on me so fast. And I'm looking, I go, holy shit. Like for a second, I thought he's going to pile into the back of us. And I had to turn right onto my street, but I didn't. I slowed right down almost to a stop in the middle of the highway, and thank God I did, because this clown went onto the shoulder and went ripping by us on the right-hand side, out of control, and he actually had to turn so he wouldn't go in the ditch, and he wound up actually on our street. So if I didn't look in the mirror and see him coming and I would have turned, he would have T-boned the freaking car. Like, holy shit. And then just the other day, we're heading down the other side of Newmarket on Highway 9. And Highway 9, people clip along. Speed limit's 80, but normally it's 95 to 100. And we're coming down this hill, construction site, lit up, pylons everywhere, flashing vehicles everywhere. There's a flag man out on the road, waves us down to stop. So we stop. The girl behind us in the car stops. The guy behind her in a pickup truck stops. The lady in the next pickup truck, full fucking speed, piled into the pickup behind the car behind us at 100 kilometers an hour. And I saw it on my mirror, and all the shit the guy had in his truck just went into the air.
All over.
Buckets, ropes, beer cans, tools, and the bang it was insane. So I already had my foot off the gas, off the brake, on the gas, ready to shoot forward, but the vehicles went around us, right? And then the thing that got me after this was sad, very sad, because my wife got out, I got out. She ran to the one car, which was the guy that got hit in the pickup truck. He's an older guy, and I ran over to the other little SUV with the lady that piled it in the back of him.
Oh.
Nobody else got out of their freaking cars. I saw cell phones up, and there was one guy even honking because he couldn't get through.
That's awful.
And here I am standing on the street. Her car was so badly damaged, there was smoke inside the cab of her car.
Wow.
And all the oil and fluids was running down the road, so the engine block was busted. That's how hard she got hit.
It could have been a fire, right? Yeah.
I couldn't open her door. I had to pull and reef and pry on her door. She couldn't get out of the car. And nobody came to fucking help. You see a guy with gray hair trying to pry a car door open to get someone out of the car.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there. I've been first on the scene, and it's horrible. But Derek's just saying his friend's grandson passed away last night in a car crash, 18 years old, because of the storm. So there you go. I mean, that's horrible. Nothing funny about that. And I think the message we can all walk away with is, drive with caution. I mean, it's our first real snowfall of the year, and you can't. And the danger right now is that the ground isn't frozen. You haven't got packed snow, or you can actually have a little bit of traction, believe it or not. But now we're more prone to flash freezes and black ice and everything else, right? Well, that's sad to hear, Derek, and our condolences to your friend's family, of course. So, but back to the what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So Heiko, your story about like all of the stuff flying to the front. I was actually in on the Don Valley. This is years ago, and it was quite comical. You know how it's stop and go. Like, so we call it, there's a place in Toronto called the Don Valley Parkway. And we call it the Don Valley parking lot because around rush hour, it's just so full of cars.
It's always stopped, and you just stop and go.
I've driven in LA, Los Angeles, in the busiest parts of it, and it's like, it still doesn't compare to the Don Valley. It's just horrible. It's a beautiful drive through the Don Valley Parkway when there's no cars, right? But so I'm going, and you got to watch the brake lights. You got to pay attention, and it's so monotonous, and it can take you an hour or more to get through the Don Valley in traffic. So I'm trucking along. I can't even remember what sort of car I had. It was kind of a work day. I was doing some business in Toronto, and anyway, so everything just stops. So you almost have to come to a screeching halt all of a sudden, and it's like a domino effect.
Oh yeah.
So I had to slam on the brakes, unfortunately, because I try to tap my brakes, give somebody some distance behind me so they're wide awake. So this guy hits the back of my car, and so I get out of the car, we pull over, and he's at the time I'm probably in my 30s. He's a older gentleman, and I can't even remember what kind of car he had, but it smashed it up pretty good, and it didn't do too much damage to mine. But what was funny about what you said, he had a box of chocolates from a bakery, and they were made specially for something. He was going to a friend of his, and they were going to share these chocolate covered strawberries, and they were fresh strawberries and dipped in chocolate with these little I've been watching baking shows, by the way, lately, and it's just driving me nuts. But they're baking all Christmas stuff, right? So it's just driving me bonkers. It's like, oh my God. I never thought I would be hooked on baking shows, but the Christmas ones are just banging. Love it. But so I know what these chocolates look like because he said, hey, come on, sit in my car. We're going to trade information. It was busy. And so I said, okay. So, which you should never do. I don't recommend that. But it was back in a time when I guess you could trust people. But so there's chocolates everywhere. And he goes, oh, just, you see that box? He said, it just went everywhere. And He says, what happened was I was reaching over. I couldn't resist. I did these up from a buddy of mine and I couldn't resist. So I had to have a chocolate. So I turned and then all of a sudden your car was there and I hit it. I'm sorry. And he says, but he said, would you share the last bit of chocolates with me? And I'm like, because now it's like it was this 36 or 40 chocolate thing, right? And there were maybe about 6 left. Everything else was all over his window, his dashboard, and it hit pretty hard, obviously. So chocolate everywhere. So here I'm trying not to get too dirty because I'm wearing a suit.
Right.
And I'm like, we're sharing these chocolates. And I'm like,
that's what it does. Yeah.
What? This is kind of bizarre, but those chocolates were amazing.
So good, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would have rather, hey, strawberry chocolates. I'd rather share them with a little champagne and whatever. But so here we are. The cops come over.
Yeah. And you guys are sitting there.
We're sitting there eating chocolates. So I'm like, so off of her.
Yeah.
Let's not be too hard on the guy. He's giving me some free chocolates here, right?
That's right.
But
hey, officer, you should try one of these.
So I think, like, I said, look, let me handle this part, right? Because they usually do divide and conquer anyway. But I said, look, everything came to a screeching halt. He couldn't hit the brakes fast enough. Because I said, ixnay on the story about eating chocolates, okay? Because you're gonna get charged with like what do they call it?
Impaired or whatever.
Not impaired, but chocolate.
Distracted driving.
Chocolate impaired. Distracted driving, or careless driving too, right? Like, anyway, that was I thought a funny story. I remember it to this day. The guy was so like a super nice gentleman, and my car got fixed, so it was minor. But his front end of his car was really bad.
So
But like you asked the question about driving,
Well,
I called my daughter last night, by the way, and I said, look, she
what
goes
did
to
you
her
call
boyfriend on the phone. But I called her up and because she goes to her boyfriend's and he's across town and it was snowing and everything. So I said, hey, you know what? Drive careful. It's kind of nuts out here. And I said, you're a good driver. You're a great driver. It's not you I'm worried about. It's everybody else around you, right? So and that's the way it is. Sorry, George, you were going to say something.
Talking about the Don Valley, sometimes referred to as the Death Valley Parkway. But
there you go.
I'm going back now to like 1990, something like that. It was around this time of year. It was a Sunday evening. I was going into town, right, into Toronto, and we had freezing rain. It was about 8:00 in the evening on a Sunday, and traffic was going fine. And then it was around the Don Mills area where there's like a dip, like the Don Mills turn off.
Yeah, it goes down.
And
everyone, there was just like a backup, and I thought, oh, there's been an accident. It's going to go down to one lane, and I'll get past it, no problem.
Right.
Anyway, we're creeping more and more forward to and there's still 3 rows of, all 3 lanes are open.
Right.
But because of the freezing rain and that hill, it like a car had gone down there and just spun around and gone into the barrier. So what everyone was doing was like taking turns to go down the hill in the freezing rain on the ice. And some guys were just doing 360s, but everyone was like letting one person go. It was like riding a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then and there's no way of avoiding this, right? Because I'm up next, and I was driving a Pontiac Sunbird wagon at the time.
There you go.
Remember, here we go. You know what I mean?
Sunfire.
There you go. It was a great ride. I made it and got to where I was going, but whoa, that was kind of a thrill ride.
George, I see while you were telling that story, everybody's commenting on the chocolates and the chocolate story. So, Brad, Craig is saying that the guy was baked. And I don't doubt that. Like, so in today, so that was when I was in my 30s. So, like 20 years ago, maybe, but, it's like, today don't touch chocolates. Like, don't eat chocolates from randos, right? You never know what's in them. But I could see this guy, he might've been a bit of baked and got a hunger on it. Oh, chocolate.
Dude, in the current climate, you would not be that close to anybody anyway, right? You wouldn't get into someone's car right now.
But the guy kind of looked like a bit of a time capsule, right? He was wearing those shirts you like to wear, the beachy ones and stuff like that. He had one of those on. Okay, and he looked like this cool kind of like back in the day, he was probably some kind of surfer, right? He's like, dude, I got these chocolates here, and I just, dude, I reached over to grab one because I was hungry. I needed to try one, right?
So what are you saying about my shirts?
I like your shirts. No, but he was wearing a shirt, right? He had the little stick arms because he was probably 90 years old. But he was kind of like Jeff Spicoli, right? He's like, dude. So really awesome guy, but everybody's talking about the chocolates. And so Derek's like, hey, Ringo, are you sure they weren't chocolate salty balls? So I'm pretty sure they weren't, but I'll give you some butter for your toast and crumpets. Yeah, Derek's butter.
Nice guy.
Okay, yeah, Derek's a great guy. So
hey, what time is it, boys?
I think it's probably time we start wrapping up.
We'll wrap up. We've been going an hour and 51.
It's 11:20.
11:20. Okay.
11:20.
I just I gotta go do chickens at midnight or ducks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Hike? We can wrap up now or at 11:30, whatever you want. But you know what? You probably got to get going soon, then, right?
We got a few minutes. I just got to get my shit together, get changed, and.
So where are these ducks in relationship to your place? Just around the corner?
Yeah, it's not far.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, no big deal. But yeah, it's gonna be another fun night.
So Brad's saying he's eaten the chocolates before. He thought there were Whopper candies and I ate 3. Bad idea. Oh, okay. So these are probably like weed filled or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, there's another whole topic there. Holy God.
I think we're done with the trivia for tonight, right, George?
Yeah, that's it for tonight.
Yeah.
I've got next week's here, but I don't want to dip into that.
Yeah, but see, Craig's losing his shit. He's got 3 right. He's beating everybody. He wants more. He wants more. Let's go.
Yeah. So great. So it was a good show tonight, and we'll get back to some interviewing format and stuff like that. More to come on our announcement.
Is that a sneak preview?
Yeah, sneak preview. That's next week's preview. That's all you're getting. No more.
That's it.
Let's
all right.
Hold it up one more time here. Oh wow!
Whoa.
Okay,
that's pretty cool. All right,
there you go. You've got a whole week to figure that one out.
Yeah.
You know what? When you put that away, you turned it around. I saw the front.
Oh, did you?
It was upside down. I saw the front. Yep.
Okay.
I guess we're.
Right. Yeah, that's okay.
We're giving away the goose there, right?
That's it.
The people are already answering it.
Tell them to shut up next week.
You're gonna have to hold that one until next week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just hang on.
We'll have forgotten by this time next week. I'll have to dig something else out. We'll bring that out another time.
That's okay.
Okay, so you know what? Do you want to wrap it up, Heiko, and we'll just
absolutely. That's great. We had an awesome show. Thanks again, boys, for being on and having fun.
That's great.
And I also want to thank people that were a part of our show tonight, which is Derek, Craig, Peter, Kathy, Keisha, and Bradley. It's nice having Bradley hook up with you, George, after all these years.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And we got the big woohoo prize for Craig because he's our star. He got 3 trivia questions right today. That's a first.
That's a shock tonight, eh?
Yeah. Hey. So Derek, you better pull your pants up and get it together because he's the king. Craig's the king right now.
Right. Yeah. Wow. This week's champion. This week's trivial champion. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, boys.
All right. So we'll see you guys next Monday.
Monday night at 9:30. We're going to get dirty. We welcome everybody back to watch and listen to us on the Heikadelic Show, live on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else the hell you want to see it. All right.
See you all next week. Yeah.
Take care.
We'll see you.
Well, that's another wrap for the Heikadelic Show, folks, so time to get dirty. And don't forget, listen in next week on Monday night and every Monday after that for the Heikadelic Show at 9:30 Eastern, Standard Time. If you'd like more information on The Heikadelic Show, please find us at www.theheikadelicshow.com or .ca. We'll see you all next week on The Heikadelic Show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for The Heikadelic Show, it's easy. Just send us an email at info@theheikadelicshow.com. Meanwhile, you can browse our website at www.theheikadelicshow.com or .ca. Click on our sponsor tab and find out more information on sponsorships. Thanks for joining The Heikadelic Show, fans.